Remember the person you thought you'd become, the person you imagined when you were younger, the life you were supposed to have, the confidence, the success, the happiness. Then one day you look in the mirror and realize you're a completely different person. And maybe that's one of the strangest parts about growing up. Nobody tells you that one day you'll meet a version of yourself that your younger self never imagined. Not because you became better, not because you became worse, just different. When you're young, the future feels simple. You think life moves in a straight line. You have dreams, plans, expectations. You tell yourself that one day everything will make sense. One day you'll have it all figured out. One day you'll finally become the person you're supposed to be. But life doesn't work that way. Life happens slowly. And while you're busy trying to survive it, you change. A little at a time. You stop doing certain things. You stop believing certain things. You stop dreaming about certain things. And you don't even notice it happening until years later, when you suddenly remember who you used to be. Maybe you find an old photo, maybe you hear an old song, maybe you remember an old dream, and for a moment, you meet that younger version of yourself again. The version that believed anything was possible, the version that was excited about the future, the version that thought life would be completely different by now. And that's when it hits you. Life didn't turn out the way you expected. Maybe you thought you'd be happier. Maybe you thought you'd be more successful. Maybe you thought you'd be more confident. Maybe you thought you'd feel more alive. But instead, you're tired, confused, still trying to figure things out. And sometimes that realization hurts. Because nobody likes admitting that they don't become who they plan to be. Especially when they spend years believing they would. But here's the truth. Almost everyone feels this. The people you admire, the people who seem successful, the people who look like they have everything together. Most of them have looked back at their younger selves and thought, this isn't what I imagined. Because life is unpredictable. Some dreams disappear, some goals change, some plans fail, and sometimes the future you wanted simply never arrives. And that's a painful thing to accept. Not because the dream was perfect, but because it means something to you. It gave you hope. It gave you direction. It gave you something to believe in. So when that future disappears, it can feel like losing a part of yourself. And maybe that's why so many people feel stuck. They're not just grieving the past, they're grieving the future they thought they would have. A future that only existed in their mind. A future they spent years waiting for. A future that slowly slipped away. And yet, there's something important most people forget. The younger version of you didn't know everything. They couldn't see the mistakes you would make. They couldn't see the challenges you would face. They couldn't see the pain you would carry. They only saw the dream, not the reality. Not the lessons, not the growth, not the strength it would take just to keep going. Because sometimes surviving life teaches you things success never got. Sometimes failure teaches you things achievement never will. Sometimes becoming a different person is exactly what life needed you to become, even if it wasn't what you planned. And maybe that's the real lesson. Growing up isn't becoming the person you imagined. Growing up is learning how to keep moving forward when life refuses to follow the script. It's learning how to let go of old expectations. It's learning how to forgive yourself for not having everything figured out. It's learning how to stop comparing your life to a version that only existed inside your head. Because the truth is, your story isn't over yet. The person you wanted to become may not exist anymore. But that doesn't mean your future is gone. It just means your future looks different. And different isn't always worse. Sometimes different is where the real growth begins. Sometimes different is where you finally discover who you actually are. Not who you plan to be, not who you imagine, not who you expected, but who you truly are. And maybe that's worth something too. Because one day you'll look in the mirror again. And when that day comes, don't ask yourself whether you became the person you imagined. Ask yourself something more important. Did you keep going? Did you learn? Did you grow? Did you become stronger? Did you become wiser? Did you become more yourself? Because maybe that's what really matters. Not becoming the person you dreamed about, but becoming someone you're proud of being. Even if they look nothing like the person you imagined years ago.